we starting herbaceously? Herbaceously?
Welcome back to the Dudeman Duo podcast.
Dudeman Duos.
We're back at it again.
Back at it.
We've been really talking about the Riot MMO a little bit too much, and it just got us thinking about getting a little bit more into the lore.
Yep.
Yeah, because I know a little bit, but you don't know a whole bunch, right?
I don't know, other than, occasionally on League of Legends, a champion that I like to play, I'll sometimes kind of read a little bit of their...
So you just know maybe the area they're from and not much of the stories.
I've seen some of Necrit's videos. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we've talked about him in the past, but he's got some lore. So I know a little bit.
A lot of lore.
Yeah, I'm a casual when it comes to that. So
I actually
silence your phone.
Oh, dude.
I heard that.
Sorry,
dude.
man.
He's so unprofessional.
I just got back from work. I've just been out of it.
My
yerba mate might help me turn off my phone.
All I hear are excuses.
Well, where's your excuse for giving us our mate, dude?
My excuse is that you weren't ready.
I wasn't. I need it.
Are you ready now?
Yeah, I've been ready.
Are you ready?
Yeah, actually. Please do, sir. I'm thirsty. I'm parched. Oh.
If you are parched, I will quench your thirst,
I've been digging
my
the
friend.
mint, dude. I've been the only flavor that I've been wanting recently.
I will quench your thirst with the juice of life.
The juice of life.
In order to truly quench your thirst, you must drink weird.
Highly recommend it. Oh, yeah, it's so good. Yeah, so lore. We're going to talk a little bit about lore. I know a decent amount about the story of Runeterra. I'm not very good at,
Continue.
I'm not very good at all the small nuanced details off the top of my head, but I know a lot of the generalization of stuff. So we're going to get into it and just kind of get lost in the lore of Runeterra for a bit. Teach Kevin some stuff.
I'm ready to get lost.
Maybe you guys could teach us some stuff too that I forget.
I'm ready to get lost.
So do you know anything about how the world was created or any of that kind of stuff? Because we can always start from the top. About some lore. Do you know? No, you can be honest. If you don't know, that's what we're here for. Dude.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't know.
So Aurelian Soul came over and he was like, yo, I feel like there needs to be little babies.
Aurelian Soul is very powerful. So essentially the world was created with these watchers. They're like the old gods, technically the gods of the universe that we know of.
Who created the watchers?
We don't know. That's the thing. So essentially the watchers...
Who created the creators? Am I right, dude?
The whole point is they don't know. So the watchers are these immense beings. They have all their senses, but nothing existed. And then the world got created, and then the watchers were awakened by the fact that they can now see light and that there is stuff around them, and they didn't like it. So it's kind of a weird world creation thing with it, but essentially the Watchers are the oldest gods. There are tons of gods within the Runeterra universe, and these are the original, apparently, or the
OGs, dude.
The OGs, or the most powerful. They're still developing a lot of this stuff though within Runeterra, so there might be some more stuff that they add. But as far as we know,
flesh out a little bit more.
The big story with the Watchers actually happens in Freljord, so we can start in Freljord. Is essentially Lysandra and her sisters. Thousands of years before, we'll go off of Arcane since everyone knows what Arcane is.
So the Watchers, though, real quick.
Yeah.
There's no champions that are Watchers.
No.
I figured.
Yeah, no, they're Aurelian Soul's a champion. He's kind of
Is Aurelian Soul considered a Watcher?
No, he's a celestial god.
He's below the Watcher.
He's kind of more like an alien.
He's like the Watcher's little baby.
No, not even attached to the Watchers at all. That's the interesting part about the world. There's different elements. There's spirits, demons, celestials. Was the pantheon gods we'll get more into them on the Targon situation. There's lots of different almost godlike being demigods and everything in Runeterra, which is actually leads perfectly into an MMO because now you have so many levels of depth of characters to put into raids and dungeons and stuff like that. So they can do expansions upon expansions and it's already there.
I just have a feeling that they're going to do a really exceptional job with storytelling.
Oh yeah, they're doing great right now,
especially after the Arcane series.
Yeah, they're just fleshing it out.
Arcane was amazing. Prove me wrong.
We had
a guy comment on one of our last videos and he's like, "Oh, Arcane sucks," and I'm like, have you even watched it?
I was like, I don't know how you can have that opinion. If you don't like it, that's different than saying it sucks, because it's kind of universally loved by even people who don't like League of Legends.
Yeah, you could say it's not your cup of tea, but
it's not.
You
trash,
can't. No. You can't say it's trash.
That's absolute cinema in its prime. But yeah, so essentially the Watchers are these godlike beings that were there from the beginning. They're like the oldest traced back, essentially.
Okay.
And they got woken up by the world, and they didn't like the fact that they were awake by light and sound and all this sorts of stuff. And then so they were essentially trying to get into
where they didn't
like it. It's weird.
Just like, what is this?
No, they've been existing forever apparently, and there's just been nothingness. So, and the fact that something started, which it might have been Aurelian Sol actually, so you might have been right in that aspect, but Aurelian Sol wasn't the original, or so apparently the Watchers are kind of like the
they were taking an extended nap, and they got woke up and they didn't like it.
I don't even know if they were napping or not too. It's weird in the lore how they explain it. Essentially, the world was created and they could now see things and feel and everything, and they did not like it, and they're cranky. The Void, they're essentially the entities of the Void. So like Cho'Gath and all that stuff are all created by essentially the Watchers. So it's a Void-like realm that we don't know nothing, and that's kind of the big end bad of the universe. There's a lot of bad guys.
Wait, what's a Void realm?
The Watchers are essentially
where the Watchers are.
The Watchers created the Void. Apparently,
they created the Void.
The Void creatures. No one knows what the Void is. That's the whole point of the Void.
So do they live in the Void?
I think so.
Okay.
That's what I think. So.
Okay.
But that's to what I've seen on my research is they're like the original, like creating the Void. A lot of Void creatures came essentially from the influence of the Watchers, and they're like the most mysterious. So we're kind of getting them out of the way early because there's not a whole bunch about them. The main story about the Watchers is essentially Lysandra, who is this witch thousands of years ago from Arcane, and her sisters. They essentially got their powers from the Watchers and kind of meddled in there. And then Lysandra made a boo-boo and essentially found out that the Watchers were trying to break through and were going to destroy the entire world. There's a lot more story, nuance.
Lysandra made a boo-boo.
She made a boo-boo.
What was her boo-boo?
Essentially showing the Watchers the Runeterra, the way in, and all that stuff, and then they were gonna breach in.
How would the Watchers not know if they're these all-powerful OG godlike figures, but they can't figure out how to get into Runeterra?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure about all the details in there. Okay. There's probably a story that, like I said, I know general knowledge and I've seen videos. But
was there some ancient like wizard guy that like?
Lysandra stopped him. So I was gonna get into that. So essentially, they were they were coming into the world, and Lysandra and her essentially realized that she made a boo boo, and she essentially
by letting them in,
and she essentially absorbed the powers of all of her followers and her sisters and everything. Killed them and absorbed their power, and to essentially stop the Watchers.
That's savage.
And I think it's in like True Ice or something like that, which is where some True Ice comes in from the world.
Wait, why? Wait.
Yeah.
So, Lysandra is trying to protect people. Apparently,
no, she wasn't trying to protect.
No, because I was going to say
trying to protect the world because it was about to be destroyed.
She's trying to protect the world by killing the world.
She didn't try to kill the world.
Well, she did. Well, at least she killed a lot of people.
Well, she essentially like absorbed all the essence of her followers and everything to get enough power to essentially to freeze the Watchers in True Ice. Essentially, is what happened. So she's there
in order to protect her followers. She kills all of her followers.
That has nothing to do with her followers.
Then why would she try to?
Because the whole Runeterra was about to be destroyed.
Okay.
The entire world she sacrificed all of her followers.
She was making
and
a big old sacrifice.
Yeah.
To protect the world
that she technically started. Yeah, so she's a.
Oh, so it's more of a pride thing. She's like, "This is my baby. I made it."
No, I don't think it has anything to do with pride. It was literally she's like she uses the Watchers' power and her sisters essentially because they tapped into it. They didn't realize what it was. She finds out that they're coming and they're going to destroy the world as she knows it, and then she's like, "Well, I have no option. We have to stop it." And she's actually still like the ward of them right now in Runeterra. So there will be probably a raid or anything about the Watchers at some point, or so they're frozen. She's essentially making sure that they stay that and keeping them in prison. Essentially, it's kind of Lysandra's role, and she's like one of the more powerful characters, I would say, or more mortal-like characters in the canon.
Okay, so characters like. I actually didn't realize she was that powerful.
Yeah, she's one of the big ones. She's like probably one of the most powerful mages.
I thought she was just like an ice witch.
She's
I didn't know
sucked up a lot of super powerful people's ability. Essentially, like you said, all of the magic from her sister she took, and then all of her followers, and she was even using the Watcher's ability or tapping into it. But yeah, she's up there. She's not like the most powerful, but she's definitely, when it comes to mortals, like I would say she's like probably close to like not a celestial per se, but kind of like a Nivea or maybe a demigod type level. I would think. I think that's kind of where she lands. She's super powerful, and that's kind of like the first type of story of Runeterra, I believe, is Lyssandra's with the Watchers. Because that goes back like 6,000 years or something. Okay. So that's kind of the more like foggy timeline type stuff of how it was created. There's a lot more detail in there. So if you guys are interested in these characters and the storylines, there's a lot of detail online about them. We're just kind of going through, just like step by step, the world, what's interesting about it, and like what we can look forward to in the new Riot MMO game. So Freljord, ice, thousands of years ago, they're now frozen, and Lyssandra's kind of off doing whatever things for thousands of years, just watching. There's also demigods.
So is she a watcher now because she's watching?
She's the new watcher. She's watching. She's got no eyes. She's got that little thing over her face.
She does have that thing over her face.
Yeah.
Dude, that's how you know a character is really powerful.
When they can't see.
When they're covering their eyes.
Unless you're Lee Sin.
Have you seen that Viva La League video?
Yeah, he's like, he doesn't see. He's like, the true sight.
The true sight.
He always misses. I never miss.
I never miss.
Yeah.
He's like missing.
I love those videos. Dude. Those are hilarious. Yeah, similar to that. So I think she lost her sight trying to get power from the Watchers or something like that. But yeah, then we go into some demigod territory in also Freljord. They have Ornn, Volibear, Anivia. Those are like the old demigods. I think they're actually similar to that Hero X anime. They get power through belief.
Okay.
So they became powerful based off their followers that believe in them, and they become stronger. Those are playable characters, but they're demigods. They're very powerful. Volibear, and there was so much war going on in between them. I think at one point, Volibear attacks Ornn and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of those cool storylines in there. And then those are kind of the main things with Freljord. There's, like I said, everyone's got their small stories. Freljord's always being attacked by Noxus as well. But when it comes to like the big storylines, the Lysandra one and then the demigods are kind of the big thing up there.
Okay.
So it is actually would be a really cool area. I think Freljord might be one of my more desired areas to go in an MMO.
I think that would be sick. And I've always really loved snowy aesthetics.
Yeah, ice aesthetics, dude. I did cool.
I did also grow up in Alaska, and I loved snow.
Yeah.
We would always go. What Alaskans say snow machining, but most other people say snowmobiling. We'd always go snowmobiling in the winter, snowboarding and everything. It's just like that winter wonderland is just so like after a fresh snow, it's just so
beautiful,
pristine and beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, I've always loved like ice areas in games too. If like PoE, I'm playing like all my stuff's like ice. I just like want to be like an ice mage or something. There's something cool about it, and there's a lot of cool like barbarian Viking-esque stuff. I think Carl's found his way into our light.
He's in the light soft box.
But yeah, I'm excited to go into Freljord. If you could pick like realms or areas that factions, like if they do that route, I would probably pick Freljord. The true ice thing's super cool. They have like these frostborn people that are at birth able to hold true ice, because true ice is like super painful to hold, and there's weapons made out of it. Like Ash's bow is made out of true ice. Trundle's mace is made out of true ice. I believe Sejuani's flail is true ice. So they're very powerful weapons, but they're very painful to use.
So you can only you wield it if you were born.
If you're iceborn, they call them iceborn.
Iceborn.
Yeah, it's so cool. But it still hurts them to hold it. But it's very powerful.
That is cool.
There's actually a cinematic that just came out with. Remember the cool cinematic with when they show like Darius fighting Trundle? Yeah, and he picking up the axe gets true ice, so he drops it because of Trundle, and he picks it up anyway and it's like a cool scene for.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Darius, pretty badass. But yeah, so that the true ice is a cool element there. So if like
I love that thematically, that's so cool.
Yeah,
and then I love
a true ice weapon or something.
Yeah. And I don't know why, but a really cool armor aesthetic I've always loved is that Viking like wintry furry.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome. I think it's so cool.
So yeah, Freljord is definitely one of my favorite areas. And
would you say S tier as far as
we can. All the areas are actually pretty
I would say
cool.
it's probably like out of a 10 out of a 10. Like if a 10's the best.
Yeah. Carl. But honestly, almost every area in Runeterra is really fascinating. Well, honestly, like my least favorite area is where Arcane is set, and it's still awesome.
Piltover.
Yeah, Piltover and Zon.
I actually, well, let me think about that. I agree that I typically am not as drawn to the punk. What's that?
Steampunk.
Steampunk vibe.
Yeah.
I really loved Arcane, but it's not. It's not my favorite aesthetic.
Yeah.
I think I probably would prefer that still over the desert, just because desert is for me is like hot and dry and sand.
Yeah, but you don't have to be there while you're watching something.
See, but sand
gets everywhere. Stop it. Gets everywhere.
Sand gets everywhere.
I hate sand. It's cold.
If you know that reference,
everyone
put
should
it
know
in the
that.
comments.
Everyone should know.
Nobody knows it except for us, probably.
Yeah.
But if you know that reference,
dude, there's a lot of cool sand. Dude, the Shurima is awesome.
No. There's some cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, as far as
aesthetically,
areas, aesthetics.
Yeah,
desert's probably my least favorite. I'm not saying I don't like it.
It's pretty bland. It's cool in its own right, but yeah, there's not as much going for it. You know, if you think of like Dune or something, it's cool looking, but it's just sand hills and some mountains every once in a while.
Like if I had to play a video game and it was all desert all the time, I would get pretty tired of that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's fair. So from Freljord, let's move over to one of my other favorites of the point, Demacia. So
I just always think of Garen's line, Demacia.
That's all he says. Yeah.
Yeah,
he loves Demacia, honor, knight, Demacia. When you talk about classic good guys, people always think of, Demacia is actually complicated though. They're actually racist towards racist.
Is it racist? Well, are magicians
you're born with it? Oh. You are born with magic, so.
Dude, look at Riot being spicy.
Not actually racist. It's actually a really cool dynamic, though.
They don't care about essentially, being correct.
Yeah, they do not care. Demacia is actually pretty brutal when it comes to mages, and the reason they are is they're essentially a people of refugees from the Rune Wars, hundreds of years, 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago, a while ago. Essentially, the runes were being used by realms of these runes are massive. Like world altering power essentially, and there was a giant war where different realms were using runes for trying to defeat their enemies and stuff like that, and it was destroying the world. And the refugees from these rune wars created Demacia, very anti-magic base because of the rune wars. So they hate magic.
Basically, in a reaction from those wars, they're like never again.
Yeah, they hate magic. Yes, and they landed their city in an area that's filled with petricite, which is a tree, petricite trees, and they absorb magic. So all of their structures, their weapons, a lot of their armor too, are all made of petricide.
Okay.
And they can infuse it to metal too. So they have, like I said, their weapons and stuff, they're anti-magic. So they would absorb magic. So that could be like a cool element that they could put into the game. Having some petricide, magic resist armor would be petricide or something like that.
Yeah.
But there's, once again, tons of storylines in Demacia too. But the base is that they hate magic. They have all this whole area that absorbs magic. So if you're in there as a mage, you're weakened based on being around these areas. Garen is a big prominent figure, and so is Lux. Lux is Garen's sister.
Well, I was gonna say Lux is a magician, though.
Yeah, but she's a secret one.
Ooh.
Yeah, right. As far as I know. So I mean, there's probably a storyline.
You ready for a word? That's pretty clandestine.
Yeah, whatever that means.
It's pretty clandestine. You know what that means?
No, I don't. I asked you.
It means clandestine.
Cool.
No, it's like secretive. It's
gotcha.
Like if, as an example, if somebody was having an affair but they went to meet each other, that meeting would be a clandestine meeting. Like,
gotcha.
Kind of secretive, spot, some sus things going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, she's secretive because she will probably be put in prison forever if they find out. And Garen kind of knows, but he stays away from his sister because he hates magic too, because he's, Demacian and full country, but he loves his sister, but he separates himself. There's a lot, like I said, lots of characters. You got from Poppies from Demacia. Galio's a cool thing. So Galio's actually a giant statue made of petricide that comes alive from all the magic that it absorbed. So their statues can come alive through magic absorption. And then those are he's like a protector of Demacia. So he's just a big old Goliath, like gargoyle statue that comes alive sometimes. So it's pretty cool with him. But that's essentially Demacia in a nutshell. Like I said, tons of characters, tons of storylines within. And the Demacia is like the number one opposer of Noxus, essentially. Noxus wants to take out Demacia or absorb them.
Would you say that Demacia and Noxus are, as much as you could, kind of the quintessential bad versus good, evil versus... I'm not saying it's not simplistic. because there's a lot of depth. But if
I
you
mean,
were to say there
aesthetically-
would be
Aesthetically, yeah, but I mean, like Demacia has a lot of like they're bad. They're more bad. I'll agree. Demacia has its own.
Demacia or Noxus.
Sorry, Noxus. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, Noxus would be probably like the Horde's version of like, and then the Alliance.
The
for
Alliance
Demacia.
versus Horde kind of thing.
Yeah, a lot more nuanced, a lot more complicated, which is awesome.
That's
I
why
love
I
it.
like the world. It's not like just bad guy versus good guy. You know
No,
what I mean?
there's a lot of there's good and there's bad in everything. Noxus probably has some more bad than good. They got some cool stuff though.
Well, because they're strength above all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like so, that's their morality structure. So if you're strong, it doesn't matter how you get there. You know, it's
What is it? They're saying I'm paraphrasing here. It's like kill them until they become family. Is like they're saying essentially. So Noxus doesn't obliterate their because they're conquering all the time. Like the whole idea of Noxus is to conquer. That's what they want. So when they conquer new areas, they don't just destroy all their people and murder them, you know, like Vikings, and then take over the territory. They take out their rulers and then essentially absorb them into their empire. So they're essentially strength above all, and you know, kings and all that stuff are epitome of like weak to them because they just sit there and other people do things for them. And Noxus is like the Noxus like leaders are powerful like fighters.
You think about the Arcane show.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name? She's a new champion now.
Mbessa.
Mbessa.
Yeah, Mel's mom.
She's
Beefy.
she's noxious.
Yeah.
She's quintessential Noxian attitude.
Yeah, she's a general of Noxus. She's not like a head of Noxus, but she's like, you know, like there's the head and then the below.
Dude, I've got Zoe. So my dog is in her
shedding phase.
I've got Zoe hair
Everywhere,
all over.
dude.
She's
Almost done.
She's a golden retriever. She's a sweetheart, but man,
she can't control her hair falling out. Yeah, it's pretty bad. She sheds a lot.
Yeah. Only during seasons though.
Yeah, it's only like a month or two, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so not too bad, but back into Noxus. So the three heads of Noxus are you got Swain, Darius, and then LeBlanc. LeBlanc is part of the Black Rose, which they get into into the Arcane season 2, which is they're gonna get a lot more into that in the next storyline. I think they're gonna go into Noxus, so won't get into spoiler stuff there. But Noxus conquering country. They're taking over everything. They've tried to take over Ionia. They were pushed back from Ionia because Ionia is awesome. They've been fighting with Demacia forever, but you know they can't really get anywhere because like the elite fighters of Demacia are like the top notch. Like they're not huge, but they're like elite. And Noxus is more like brute, Viking-y, just charge at them. You know, they're very strong and you know.
You're more like kind of like the berserker, just
berserker
like going in, blah, you know.
And then Demacia would be like the trained knight his whole life type style, you know. So, like if I put Darius versus Garen, I think Garen would slap Darius probably, in my personal opinion.
You think so?
I think when it comes to lore,
right?
Now I mean, but Darius has probably got more like endurance because he's a brute and stuff like that, but he's not as like trained and stuff versus
skilled.
Like Garen is like peak skilled like sword.
Which is kind of ironic because in game, you know, he's just the spin to win.
He's just a spin to win. I love him. So is Darius.
No, it takes more skill though for Darius.
You have to auto
you
twice.
you have to, in order to do it correctly,
at the end of your
you have
queue.
to do it at the end of the queue. And
Garen is the easiest champion for sure.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm not saying Darius is a hard champion by any means.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it's a little bit more of a champion than Garen.
Yeah, Garen kills Darius, in my personal opinion. But we should do like a tier list at some point.
Who kills who? Who kills who?
Battle episode.
Teemo versus Aurelian Soul.
Teemo versus Aurelian Soul.
Oh.
Teemo wins.
I think the shrooms, bro.
Teemo wins. But yeah, so Noxus, a lot of complexities, and Noxus has actually got some of the
complexities.
There's so much like stories.
I prefer
involved.
complexities actually.
Okay, another criticism.
New word.
Complexities.
Yeah.
It's like complexion, complexities. But so one of the the creation of Noxus came from essentially Mordekaiser. But Mordekaiser, I can't remember his name before. He was this berserker guy that was just killing as much as he could to become like essentially to go into the underworld and be known. He wanted to die and have like a legacy there and be like, you know, the guy who sent so many souls to the underworld, and he ended up killing like an infinite amount of people, died and realized that there was nothing there. And he was pissed.
He was like, dude, I was doing all this so that people would be like,
yo, pretty much.
He's that guy.
Pretty much like he wanted recognition. He wanted to be that. Yeah, he wanted recognition essentially. And he went and he died and he realized there was nothing there. And then he ends up, I can't remember how he comes back through Will and then other people trying to bring him back. He gets resurrected and he convinces to be resurrected into this armor, like so that he can't die, be more, you know, sturdy, whatever. And he creates the immortal bastion. He's like this really big bad. He essentially is trying to create this underworld.
The immortal bastion?
Yeah, it's a big structure. The Noxian, like stronghold, one of the biggest structures he created. Okay. And there's a lot more lore into that. Like I said, it's hard to get into everything. I'm just kind of.
I was just wondering because you mentioned it. Yeah, I've heard it before. I wasn't sure.
Immortal Bastion, big building. I think it has
mortal or immortal.
Immortal Bastion.
Immortal Bastion.
I think it like collects the souls or something like that. I think because Mordekaiser is trying to create this underworld, and he wants to.
He's trying to create.
He wants to be the king of hell, essentially, and he's killing people to create. Essentially,
how can you be king of something that doesn't exist
by willing it into
making it?
He's that's because how the demigods work in Freljord. Remember the belief and stuff like that. Okay. So belief in him is giving him power, essentially, which is a cool system. So like you can't not believe in him if he's murdering everyone in the world. Like people are fearful of him.
You might hate him, but you
make him stronger just based off of fear and stuff like that. And then he ends up getting defeated and banished by the Black Rose, LeBlanc, and all that. And he's there now, but that's another raid boss just waiting to happen, you know, or something in the lore.
I was thinking about this as you were talking about the different places. I love how unique each spot is and how well stylized they are, to where if you were to insert yourself into any of these cities in these different places, you would know immediately based on aesthetics and the characters there where it would be. Like Noxian, you know, is got a lot of the red, like blood, dark like
steel,
brutal. And then Demacia's got the, you know, the bright blue and gold and everything, right?
White
like
too, petricide,
petricide. And then you got, we already talked about the Freljord
just ice villages.
The ice, like snow, you know it immediately. You go up to Ionia and it's like that green kind of like
it's Asian culture,
Asian
cherry
like,
blossom,
you know, samurai vibe, like that. That whole, which by the way, that would probably be my second favorite of all of them is Ionia personally. But then you go to the desert and it's the people are wearing barely any clothes because it's hot, but it's all gold and Shuriman desert aesthetic. And then you move over to Piltover and it's very apparent because it's got all that tech. And and you go into Azan, it's got the poison. And then you go over to Piltover.
Piltover and Zon are the same.
Wait, no, sorry, not Piltover. What's the pirate?
Bilgewater.
Bilgewater.
Yeah.
You go over to Bilgewater and it's immediately apparent with that. I just think that the way that they have built the world and the aesthetics and the lore, like it's going to make for a really amazing game.
Yeah, it's like because it just creates so much versatility in style. So like you can you're like, oh, I'm tired of this area. You go to something that's completely new. Yeah. Like there's just so much variety in the world, and it all connects really well too. And they've done a really good job of bringing everything together. So
that's one of the things with like World of Warcraft. It wasn't as always apparent. You go into a city and it kind of feels like a city or whatever. I mean, I think maybe the one comparison would be it would be obvious to whether or not the city was Horde or Alliance. That was clear. You know what I mean?
I mean, it depends. So most of the Alliance was human-based stuff, and the Horde was more orc-based. But I mean, you'll see like Blood Elf has like the gold and red and white buildings, you know.
But I've played it. I've played World of Warcraft a lot, and I still wouldn't be able to tell you what the aesthetics were, even though I've been to all these places.
Okay.
I wouldn't remember.
But
gotcha. with and maybe that's my own brain or something. But with Riot, I know exactly.
Been playing it a lot more too, so you know a lot of the champions and
that's
based off of what they are. I mean, I think WoW's decent at that. Like I know what a dwarven mine looks like, you know, and then you know what the Naru, you know, the Draenei like shiny purple ship, you know, and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, they definitely don't do as good of a job, I think, as Riot, because Riot is a lot more unique and makes more sense too. Like it's just, I don't know, it's just perfect world building. It's always interesting, and especially to be able to put all this technology and all these different like realms together all in one and make them work. And like there's not just like a Shuriman is only Shurimans there. Like there's people from other realms that come. Like there's people from Shurima in Demacia, you know, and there's tons of intertwining. There's tons of different people like from Ionia, Bilgewater, all that stuff in Demacia or in Noxus. So I mean, like they're all connected. So you could tell it feels like a world, you know, not just like, hey, everyone's just from here and then they're staying there. It's like, no, it's a giant universe essentially, and they've done a really good job on integrating it and stuff.
Integrating it.
Integrating. I don't know words. Words bad, man.
I love it. Dude.
I got thoughts, but no words.
I feel like when I'm with you, I learn new words all the time. It's great.
Yeah, those words exist. My words. So yeah, where were we at? We finished Noxus.
So we finished Noxious. Noxian.
We'll get some of the big ones out of the way. Well, we'll go to Ionia.
Yes, please.
Your favorite.
One of my favorite all-time champions.
Yasuo.
Yasuo's
got a cool storyline too. He was framed for killing his master. So it's like this nomad Riven killing his master and freaking
pretty sad story.
Pretty sad story,
it's like very few people that have the wind sword technique, so everybody just assumed he killed his master.
Yeah, Riven is from Noxus, or I think she was Ionian, but was trained and raised in Noxus, and she came and killed. Yeah, so there's another, just scenario where someone from a different area is in some other land, which is cool. But I mean, like Ionia's, their whole thing is nature, like very nature based in Ionia. Their buildings are all trees and like grown. They're not like built. So like they move, like the house can change.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and they can walk away and move around, and like it's a really cool aesthetic. It's not just like, Asian-y. It's very different. It's thematically like that with like the samurai and like the culture there, like the race kind of seems more like Eastern, but it's still not quite that. It is really unique to its own. And then you get into like the samurai like Shen, and then like Zed with the shadow magic, and there's lots of like celestial type beings there, like spirits is a big thing there. So
because they're in tune with nature.
I think that's where the Vestaya came, which was like Ari's race. I think they started out there and they started breeding with humans, and that's what essentially created the different like races. So you got like Rakan and Zaya, they're Vestaya. Ari's a Vestaya. Even like Rengar.
So you're furries.
You're furries.
You got your classic furries.
They have lore behind them. It's kind of cool.
Do you identify as a furry?
No, I don't. I don't even play any furry characters.
I could see you identifying as like a wolf.
Is there a wolf person?
I'm just kidding.
I don't think there's a wolf person.
So in One Piece, it would be the land of Wano.
Yeah. It would be
kind of like Ionia. Is Wano the wait?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Wano. I mean, Wano.
Yeah, that's the samurai island that they.
Yeah.
That Luffy defeated.
Yeah, it's Japan Island.
What's his name?
Kaido.
Yeah, that's right.
It's Japan Island.
Kind of like okay.
Yeah, this it's a little bit more unique when it comes to Ionia.
Yeah.
It's very,
but like, that kind of aesthetic a little bit.
Yeah, that sleek look, that like samurai ninja-y type style, and there's a lot of cool like wind magic there and like spirit stuff and a lot of power there. There's so many storylines. I was doing research this week and I was like having a hard time thinking about
keeping track of
keeping track. I'm not going to talk about all of them because number one, I don't know them enough.
Wait! You didn't memorize everything,
dude. Like I actually wanted to do like a really good in depth, and I kept like listening, and I was.
How is Baby Kev supposed to learn?
I'm trying to teach you basis.
How's Papa Kev supposed? Papa Kev. How's Papa Kurt supposed to teach Baby Kev if Papa Kurt didn't memorize every single detail of all the lore of League of Legends and Runeterra?
I'm sorry, I've failed.
I'm disappointed, bruh.
It's hard. I actually didn't know how much lore there was until I started going deep, because I've always known the stories and I knew a little bit about comics, but there's a lot of comics and there's a lot of stories, and I'm actually excited to dig into them a bit more, but we cannot talk about them. It'll be confusing. I'm not really good at articulating all my details and stuff like that, so we're just gonna go through the basis of it. We'll keep it there.
All right, fine.
You will be confused because I'm confused just trying to think about it. And but I mean, there. If you take each story and just beginning to end, it would be a good way to learn. You know, you're like, oh, let's just learn about this character, and you go through the whole lore. That'd be fine. Get it chronologically done, and everything would just be like some sort of giant spreadsheet that would take me probably like a long time to get through. But Ionia is awesome. And you said your second favorite or your first?
Well, it's a mix. I think my first favorite area would be Freljord.
Yeah, it's cool.
But Ionia is like a very close second because I
Yeah.
like both those aesthetics like a lot.
Yeah, Ionia's cool. I think mine would be just Freljord and Demacia, mainly because of the whole magic thing's fascinating. And
Yeah.
I've always liked the Garen story. I know people think that he's like boring and generic. He's actually very complex. There's a lot of complex characters.
It's probably just because of the gameplay of Garen is boring and
I
generic.
love playing Garen.
I'm not saying it's not fun. It's pretty simplistic. You Q and you spin.
You need to click your W when you spin.
You're right. I stand corrected.
And you can't ulti.
Complex.
You have to
complex-
execute with his
Very complex gameplay.
Now he's like the easiest.
You right.
He's like probably one of the easiest champions to play. But yeah, I love my Garen. So we gotta get a display of Garen. I can get Garen.
You want to get
Yasuo.
it? You want to get some art of Garen?
I'll get Garen. You get Yasuo.
You should get Oh yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
2 swordsmen.
Garen's not my favorite champion though. I do like Garen, but there's too many champions. There's like 180 champions.
Dude, maybe I should get Yasuo's sword and his little flute,
So just
so that like the dance emote where he just sits,
leans on his.
puts his sword back and sits back and goes with his. I love that.
Yeah,
So I could get a little little Yasuo flute.
it's so funny because like Yasuo's your favorite character, but he's also like a very hard, complex character to play. So therefore, you can't play him in ranked as much because you have to play a lot of games.
I just don't play. Yeah, I just don't play enough League of Legends to be really good at him.
Yeah, well, you were good at one point, but I mean,
was
like,
good at one point, but
the problem with League though is if you're good at someone, it doesn't like other people are playing champions that are simpler and they're better because it doesn't take as much, complexity to play. So even if you're a technically better player, it's harder for you to, essentially succeed to win with that character because it's the margin for error is so much more. And then
you have to be on top of it.
Yeah, and he's super
all the
squishy if
time.
you're not doing it right. So that sucks. So for you.
Whereas someone can just play Maokai, toss a bush baby, and then do their thing.
Why
and
are you
then-
hitting
and then
all
you
my
can win.
champions, dude? I love Maokai. Dude.
No, Maokai's great. I'm just saying he's
not the-
pretty simple to play.
It's not the easiest. I mean, who else? You got like other champions.
Does he have any skill shots?
His Q technically.
His Q's kind of like a skill
His
shot.
ulti got to point in a general direction and it only covers like half the map.
That's a pretty hard one to hit for sure.
No, I mean Maokai is not hard. Positioning is just about just probably positioning with him because you want to walk and knock people away and we don't have to get into that. I like simple champions. I'm sorry. Actually, I played Nivea and Nivea is actually one of the harder champions to play. So
that's fair.
Jokes.
I like some simple champions. The ones that I play more typically are the ones that are harder to play because I like that challenge.
Yeah.
But I end up shooting myself in the foot because I never get to gold because I don't play enough to be good enough anymore. And yeah.
Dude, your 3 main characters were Yasuo, Katarina, and Lee Sin, which are all 3 like hyper complex. Newer Katarina is definitely, older one wasn't as bad, but like those are pretty complex characters. And no wonder you never got to gold because you kept trying to play champions that were probably too hard to play.
Well, when I was used to be a one trick with Katarina.
Mm.
I would play her all the time, and it was a lot of fun. It was before they changed her. Ever since they changed her, she's still fun, but it's just not the same.
Not the same, yeah.
But I would go into the ranked lobby, and I would text my team, be like, "Yo, I will carry. Just like one of you, maybe 2 of you go tank. Maybe the jungle go Amumu, and then I'll carry. And if it was
they listened,
like
you win.
Guaranteed, if they listened and with my team went tanky, and especially if they had an Amumu that could lock down their team while I do all my stuff, I could win. And it was my win rate on her was awesome. I think I was like 75% win rate. But every time I got to the promos to get to gold, my team wouldn't listen. I don't blame them for not listening to me.
Blame
like,
them, Kevin.
because they don't know me. That some rando guy, like I probably wouldn't listen. You know what I mean? I don't blame them.
Play what I want.
And then top lane would feed hardcore, and just every time I got in my promos, my team would just fall apart. And that was the thing with Katarina back in the day, especially, is that she's such a squishy champion that relies on timing and your team, like tanky team, to go in.
And CC destroys her.
Yeah.
Because it used to be just her ulti was like all her damage, so you could just silence her.
Yeah.
Stun.
I was really good at I could even play really well against her counters. I remember my teammates being like, their mid lane would choose like a hard counter for Katarina, and then I would come up and I would click over Katarina, and my teammates would be like, no, like that's a hard counter for Katarina. I'm like, I don't care, dude. I could still play well against counters.
Well, the problem with it is like, if you're good at a champion, you're still gonna be better off playing against a counter than playing a champion you're not as good at.
Right.
So I mean, like that's a horrible way to play the game.
Well,
is like
and
looking for counters.
Right. And the way that I played Katarina is, if I had a counter, I would play a lot less aggressive in lane, and then I would just roam.
Yeah.
To get my kills and to get my gold and start snowballing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good. That's how you're supposed
Yeah.
to do it. That's how mid lane's supposed to go.
Right.
Which is why I'm a inconsistent mid laner. I'm a very safe player. I have very low death counts, but I don't roam very well.
Yeah. Well, Katarina was perfect for roaming, because her shunpo, like you get to the lane, you pop her W if you need to for some extra movement speed, and then you shunpo in, you do your stuff, and then if you get a kill, you get reset so you can shunpo to the other laner that's running away and get another kill.
Yeah,
it's
super
just
mobile and stuff like that.
She was just lent itself. She lent herself. Her kit was like a
good roamer,
a roam kit.
Yeah, pretty much like it's just assassin, right? So like
Yeah.
similar like Zed or LeBlanc, right? Really good mobile, and you can,
Yep.
LeBlanc, you could get dump kill and then go way back and then get back to your lane real fast and stuff like that too.
I did play LeBlanc for a while.
LeBlanc,
She was
I love
super
LeBlanc.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, she was good. She's easy too.
The jukes you could pull with her.
Yeah,
man.
she was great.
Yeah.
Oh, League days.
Yeah.
Like to reminisce, but I don't miss them too at the same time.
Dude, I don't know why, man. Like, yeah, I get that.
Because it's like we'll play like a game. We'll go like, oh, let's play a league game. We
Let's
play
do
and then
it.
we're like, this is why we don't play anymore.
I think it's because we don't play enough to be good.
Yeah.
So when we get in, we get donkey stomped hard. And so we're like, this doesn't feel good. And then we stop playing.
Yeah, we just play twos every once in a while,
Yeah.
or just whatever we're playing.
As much as I love League of Legends and we've played a lot of hours, that is the one of the biggest cons to having a game that's fully just straight PvP.
Yep.
Is if you aren't playing it a lot and you get in, it can just feel bad because the other team is just
Better.
so much better.
You're polished.
And and we're, now that we're a little older and we're family men, like we're a little bit more lazy when it comes to gaming.
Which is why we like MMOs. You can be not lazy with MMOs, but
you can.
But you can also be lazy with MMOs.
That's the great thing about MMOs.
You can do what you want.
You can go hardcore and be really good and do some PvP in MMOs. It can scratch that itch. But if you're not wanting to do that,
You have so many options.
you've got so many other options. You know what I mean?
That's why we stopped the league.
Yeah.
So that's why we're talking about Riot MMO every time. We probably talk about it too much, but I could talk about it forever.
We're Riot MMO copers.
Copers, dreamers.
And we embrace it fully.
Yeah.
If you,
That's what this is.
I
I've dreamed about it. Think about it. We got what, 2 more years? They said by 2028 is what the projection is. Well, where were we? Because we got off on a big old tangent about League of Legends for some, which we are talking about Runeterra, so it's going to happen.
We just we had to inhale a little bit of copium just so we could keep going.
We just had to get into the OG. Kept reminisce about the old times. I think we pretty much finished Ionia. I mean, it's simple, cool area. That'll be an expansion. Maybe it'll be with the original game, but it is kind of off of the continent. It's a little bit to the east of it. But where are we going from there? We can go into
the pirates.
You want to go to Bilgewater?
Bilges.
Okay, let's go to Bilgewater.
I was never into the pirate aesthetics until I started watching One Piece and I started playing Sea of Thieves, and then the pirate kind of aesthetics, lore, feel,
intriguing
vibe. It pulled it. I learned to
Enjoy it.
appreciate. Hey, I made a word.
Yay!
I learned to appreciate it, and it does have a soft spot in my heart.
You're all over the place, just like me, dude. I like it,
dude. Sometimes, man.
Sometimes I do love the pirate area now more because of One Piece for sure. Like, because I was the same. I never really liked piratey aesthetics, but Bilgewater is definitely not my favorite of the aesthetics of Runeterra, but it is very interesting. It is cool. It's also small. It's not. I don't think it's supposed to be some big area, so it would probably be a good like little questing hub for a little bit with maybe like a dungeon or something like that. But when it comes to Bilgewater, there's only like really two important things, or at least two big storylines, and one's about MF and Gangplank. MF, his family was murdered by Gangplank. Gangplank was essentially the king of the pirates, and then she dethroned him, and there's a big war between her and him. So that's one of the big stories there. And the other one is the priests of Bilgewater, which is Alawi, and they worship Nikoboros. I can't know how to pronounce his name very well. He's got a weird name. Tentaclebos, or a god of motion, I think is that. So that's what they worship. So there'll probably be something with that. Maybe that would be like a magic set you can, spec into or something. But yeah, there's not a whole bunch going over there. You got some characters.
Is Thresh from that area too?
No, Thresh is not from Bilgewater. Thresh is from the Cursed Isles.
Okay. I think maybe I got Bilgewater and maybe the Cursed Isles mixed up a little bit.
Bilgewater's a pirate. Pirates. Right. And then there's a little bit of, I think they're close. So I think that, well, no, actually, let's pull up my map.
Is it part of the Bilgewater like storyline though? The Cursed Isles?
There is some combo between them because Bilgewater is close to the Shadow Isles. So there are some characters intertwining and stuff going in there, but it's not the same place. They do have their own separate storylines going in there.
Okay.
But Bilgewater is a little bit more north of the Shadow Isles. We'll go there next. But yeah, that's pretty much it with Bilgewater. I mean, you got some like, you got Twisted Fate and Graves and, a couple like piratey people from there. It'll be a cool questing hub with a couple things to do, but it won't be big. It's a smaller area comparatively to all the other zones. So, but I mean, like I said, nice little side quest or something like that. Maybe that could be like the PvP thing as a Bilgewater, because this
I could see that.
This the whole aesthetics kind of fighting and on a ship or whatever could be a cool thing. But from there we can go to the Shadow Isles. Shadow Isles actually has the biggest written lore section, and that was because of Viego's storyline that came out a couple years ago. It's probably been like 3 years now, actually. But Viego is a ruined king, an old king whose wife died, and he allowed powers of shadow or something spirit powers to come in and corrupt. Very complicated, very long. Won't go too much in here. But Shadow Isles used to be the Blessed Isles, and they were corrupted.
Oh, really? They were blessed?
They were blessed, and now they're shadowed.
Now they're cursed?
Yeah, now they're cursed. It's just like a cursed land.
How the blessed have fallen.
Yeah, it's kind of a cliche storyline, Blessed Isles. There was a lot of magic and mysticism there. Okay. And then it got corrupted based off of him trying to res his wife and polluting the Blessed Isles waters or something like that. Maokai was actually there, created the Blessed Isles, or was one of like the formers of it. He's a spirit tree, he's a tree guardian. Okay. And he was in the Blessed Isles, and then it kind of came corrupted. Twisted Tree Line was corrupted in the Blessed Isles, but except it was after the corruption and stuff like that. The Shadow Isles, that's what became the Shadow Isles. Okay. So
some characters involved with that would be like Lucian, right? Because Thresh took Lucian's wife.
She was captured and then he freed her. So Lucian and Senna are attached. They're actually Sentinels, which is a kind of like a group of people to fight the Shadow Isles. Vane's a part of it. Akshan's a part of it. Gwen was a part of it. Gwen's really attached to Viego's storyline, and she helps. And essentially, they defeat Viego to cleanse the world of the Shadow Isles. He got banished somewhere else, and we don't really know what's going on there. But Shadow Isles, they have Hecarim. Yorick's part of it too. Yorick's part of he was in the Blessed Isles, and then Shadow, so he was one of the older original ones there. But there's a decent amount of characters that were kind of like taken over. I don't know if they died and were resurrected. I'm not exactly sure how the magic works there, but it's definitely like a shadowy death magic in those. So that would be another, just side questing area that probably would be separate.
Potentially like a dungeon or two and maybe a raid boss or something.
Yeah, and then like a little questing zone or something, maybe. just kind of like I think of it like almost like the Thunder Isles off of Pandaria and like World of Warcraft. There's like a little separate, almost like a mini expansion within the expansion.
Sure.
So like I can see like going there would be cool. There'd be some cool bosses and stuff like that, and a cool storyline with the Sentinels maybe. But
there's so much static electricity in this room, man.
we all shocky up in here. Dude.
Oh, it's like a friggin' static shiv in this house, then.
Nice. That's a good little
Static shiv.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. But
You'll know something static shiv will put in the game. I wonder if they'll do like items.
dude, items similar to
Yeah, that would be kind of
What's
cool.
in
I
League
haven't
of
really
Legends?
thought about that yet.
Huh.
Because because like static shiv has the ability and stuff like that, and there's like
that'd be actually cool.
That'd
like
be interesting. You could get those weapons.
you could get those weapon you could get the static shiv from
I have no idea where it would be from.
Shiv HD. No, I'm kidding.
It'd probably be from like it's probably a Shuriman weapon or something like that.
That'd be cool though.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting. I haven't thought about that, so that just came to my brain. Just get that item. Get that BF sword. Big freaking sword.
Big fire sword.
Big.
Yep.
It's not fiery. It's like crit sword. Moving on forward, let's talk about Targon. Targon's actually one of the cooler spots. I think one of the more interesting and unique areas in Runeterra. And what Targon is this giant mountain that touches the stars, or like the celestials essentially. And it's actually really complicated, I think. But if essentially people climb this mountain, which is very difficult, and a lot of people die doing it in order to ascend into vessels for celestials. So there's only a couple people that have done it. So you got Pantheon, who has done it. You have Diana and Leona, which have the sun and moon, and then you have Zoe. And then Aurelian Soul was he's not embodied by anybody, but he is a celestial. Then Bard's a celestial, but he hasn't been embodied. Essentially, you go up there and you get powers, and you get like sucked in or absorb the power. Sometimes they take over you. Pantheon was taken over by the god of war. Zoe was not taken over, but got the power of the twilight or something like that. Lots of complex characters again, storylines.
Sure.
But
that could be a really fun element in the game.
Yeah, we talked about in another video about having like a tower, like climbing to ascend. That could be kind of like your ascension trials in PoE or something, except a lot more like intricate.
Yeah.
That would maybe take a while. Maybe you slowly ascend. You do like the first level, or
you
like
can get to certain levels,
and then you can come back later if you beat it. You're not powerful enough yet. Come back,
Dude.
and then eventually you get to the top, which is like some sort of big talent or system for your level power system or something.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be really cool. There's
or
a lot
it could also just be like a solo challenge, kind of like the Mage Tower, but just amplified.
That would be cool with like a cool cosmetic or something.
Cosmetics, and it'd be.
There's so much things they can do with a system like that. It would be really cool.
So Targon, where is that in relation to the other countries?
So essentially, we've talked about the northern country. We haven't even touched the south, though. We're touching the south now. It's essentially below Demacia to the west of Shurima. So essentially you got Demacia over here, Freljord, Noxus, and then you got Belgewater and Shadow Isles kind of over here on the islands with Ionia. And then we're moving way over here and starting on the west side. But yeah, so Targon, cool, awesome aesthetics too. Like you have like rivers going up the mountain. Like it's essentially Targon was like the Aurelian Soul grabbed it and pulled it up. It pulled up the land. So it's got a really cool like
no big deal
aesthetic to it. A lot of cool characters, godlike character. Pantheon is a pretty cool one. They imprisoned Aurelian Soul by giving him this gift of a golden crown. So that's the reason you can play Aurelian Soul, by the way, lore-wise.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Pantheon controls essentially Aurelian Soul through this helmet that they gave him. They like tricked him. So now he's playable because he's like being controlled. So that's how they kind of put him in the game a little bit. But he's probably one of the more powerful, if not the most powerful. It's like the Watcher's level and stuff like that. So yeah, but there's a lot of cool stuff with Targon. It's not huge. It's just like kind of this mountain and a couple ranges around. Once again, tons of stories around it. So tons of characters attached to it. But one, if we're going from Targon, the direct other one would be Shurima. Some of the biggest stories in the game might actually come for Shurima because a lot of like events started because of Shurima doing things they shouldn't be. They're the classic country getting too big, tapping into too much power, messing up with the world. Kind of like what Lysandra did a little bit we talked about earlier. Like Shurima did that kind of almost at a bigger scale. Shurima essentially started for the small city and they started to create their own magic source called the Sun Disk, which was attached to Targon, and they tried to ascend their warriors essentially. And it can kill. It's dangerous. It's a dangerous ritual that can rather kill you or get you can be accepted and gain powers. So ascended warriors essentially that are very strong. So Renekton and Nasus are ascended warriors. Those are the original ones that we kind of know from the game. Cool story with them. Azir was the king, and then Xerath was like this slave friend of his. There was a big storyline there about Azir freeing his slaves, and then Xerath didn't think he was doing it, but he wasn't telling him all his plans, and then Xerath betrayed him during his ascension and essentially took his ascension and almost killed Xerath, and he became this font of energy. There's like a cool interlapping story there. Huge long story. One of the more interesting stories, actually. I think Shurima has got a lot of cool, rich lore. I imagine that would be a big focal point in the game. Might even be the first expansion or something, because the northern area is more than big enough to start with. But
so you don't think that they're gonna have a lot of these areas already in the game?
I don't think so. I don't know why they would. I don't think there's a need for it yet, because it's always fun to have content coming, as long as it's coming consistently, like 5 years, like a year or two to play the game, and then a new thing comes out to explore. I do think that's cool, and they would allow them to go more in depth in the areas that they're already in, instead of having just a giant scope. Oh crap, we have so much stuff to do. Now they can we have this, we can make it rich. And it's already huge. Like the lore, the realms are huge. Between Demacia and Noxus is like ridiculous. Like you can see on the map, you put it up. It's not a small country.
Right.
So Shurima is even huge, is the biggest. It was like one of the biggest areas down south. Kind of like Africa, something like it's just like
for sure.
A huge continent. They have a lot of lore and rich stuff, but essentially what happens is they were taken over, or they were destroyed. Shurima was destroyed through the Wars of the Void. Let me pull up I think it's Ishtal. I want to say Ishtal. Ikathia.
You gotta get good.
Yeah, Ikathia was a country south of Shurima that ended up getting corrupted by the Void. More stories in there. We won't get to that, but essentially the ascended warriors were at war with the Void, and they ended up losing their connection with the Sun Disk or something, and they become corrupted through blood magic. They end up going down to get power through blood magic, and become the Darken. So this is how the Darken are essentially corrupted.
They're ascended warriors that have been corrupted.
Corrupted ascended warriors. Some of the most powerful characters in, or at least, like I said, more mortal characters that aren't god characters. So you got like Aatrox, you got Kayn, which has Rost, then you got Neferi. But essentially, yeah, the Darken, the ascended warriors being corrupted by blood magic because they were tapping into blood magic. And they were a massive threat because of reasons. Essentially just corrupted evil warriors, and they were kind of fought back by there was a lot of them. So you have like some Kale and Morgana stuff going with Aatrox up into Demacia. They kind of go everywhere. This is like a cataclysmic event, like the first like threatening of the world event, right? Because this was still like 1,000 years ago before
Okay.
Or maybe even longer, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 years.
So like ancient history, basically.
Yeah, not quite like Watcher ancient history, but like before Noxus was established. I was getting overwhelmed reading all the stories, and it's so much, man.
It's a lot.
So I was just trying to get a baseline of all this stuff.
Yeah.
All the important points. But yeah, they were essentially destroyed by a lot of the heroes and stuff of the time. And they were cursed. They're not actually destroyed. They're put into their weapons. They figured out the how to bind them to their weapons. I think it was Zoe actually but yeah, they found a way to bind them to their weapons and hide the weapons, but they couldn't destroy them. So that's why you get like Kayn, who has Rost, who is a Darken, but he can't be corrupted. He's strong willpower. And then you got like Aatrox, who's fully corrupted, his host. And then like Neferi was found by a pack of wolves the dagger was found by wolves, and so now she's inhabiting the wolves. So it's kind of like a cool element. Those would be tons of dungeon bosses. You can have a big raid about it.
Yeah.
But essentially they became corrupted to essentially fight the void, and then it just ended up going wrong. But the big void burst happened in Acathia, which is below Shurima, and so there's like a big void portal or something there. So that would be like a cool area to go explore, because we don't really know a lot about the void. There's a little bit of story with like Malzahar and Cassidon in Acathia. That's where that kind of comes from with going to the void.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of storyline back in there, but it's just it's going to be void creatures, purple portal-y things, and the void has like the least amount of story in, I think, Runeterra. It's like, so we don't know a lot about it. And they might be saving that for the MMO. Maybe
Sure.
MMO, maybe they have like a cool idea that they want to go down there. But essentially it comes from the Watcher's realm, which is where that happens. And then a lot more going on Shurima, but we'll finish there. And then Ishtal is another small country that's surrounded itself by nature, which is east of Shurima.
Okay.
It's just this little country. They actually kind of recently talked about it in the lore. Skarner created Ishtal. You have some of the new characters like Quena from there. Zyra is in the jungles, and so is Rengar in the jungles of Ishtal. They have elemental magic. They specialize in elements. You know, it's almost like Avatar. It's the Avatar city. You got the earth benders, you got the fire benders, you got the wind, you know, all that sort of stuff. Elemental magic there. There's some storylines in there as well, but not it's kind of the newer, less established area, almost like that secret area that's locked themselves away. And they did that during the void. When the Void and the Darken were fighting, they essentially locked themselves away with this magic forest that things can't penetrate. It's like a dangerous forest and stuff like that. And so they're like kind of just now coming out. They thought the world was like destroyed or something like that, because they didn't travel outside or anything. So there's a little bit of that. That'd be like a little area to go in, you know, and discover Ishtal, because they've been so inclusive for like thousands of years or something.
That's cool.
Yeah, from there we kind of get into the Piltover and Zon area, which is just north of Ishtal, because that's the connection point of the continents.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of know a decent amount about it already with the Arcane show. There's obviously more lore in there, but there's no need to talk about it because...
Do you think they're going to come out with shows similar to Arcane in these different...
I think so.
Like all of them eventually?
Hopefully
you know
all of them.
That'd be pretty cool.
I mean, the next one's going to be into Noxus.
Yeah.
I don't know what they have a linear story going on right now. So it starts in the Piltover area, and then it's probably going to Noxus now. It'd be interesting if they kind of just had separate like storylines that weren't connected at some point, to see the Shuriman story, to see the other ones, because they're all like thousands of years ago.
Mount Targon, like that would be sick. Like
there's
a
like
pantheon.
It'd be cool to have like the Leona Diana dynamic of Targon. There's a lot of story, like really cool stories in there. There's a lot of Demacia attached to Targon.
Yeah.
Lots of cool ideas they could go with. Right now we're going to Noxus, and then they'll probably introduce Freljord and Demacia, I think, going into, you know, this next area up north. And then we'll see where they go from there. But it's going to take a little bit to get through there. Because, I mean, what does it take them, like a year and a half, 2 years for the show? The animation's beautiful. Take your time, make it good.
Yeah, man.
So I think that's almost everything.
Cool.
Because there was just we get into the Arcane area. There's a lot more lore with Jaina and like other characters there before, because Zon is an older... It actually started out as Zon. It wasn't Piltover. It was Zon first for a long time, and then something happened with the pollution, and they just start building up, and then eventually you get to the Zonites and then the Piltover, where they start separating, and they got those civil wars. But it was originally just one place.
I didn't realize it was originally Zon.
Yeah, Zon. Well, it started down there, and they built up, right? And then there was pollution, and then it started getting like, you know, like the poor and the rich, and then you can start to get into the politics of Arcane. So, but that was like 1,000 years ago. Zon was still there, so it's still an older place. So, but yeah, there's so much lore, dude. So many characters. They're all attached to everything. Necrit.
Except he doesn't crit because he's necrit.
Negative crit. Yeah.
Necrit.
Yeah.
No crit.
No.
Ne. Crit.
Cool.